be coming in the swamp, scent checking this, or maybe even visually checking it. It's pretty open. He's gonna sit here.
Welcome back, everyone. In this video I'm going to show and discuss how you use speed scouting to break down a large section of woods into a more manageable section of woods. Last year I gave myself 4 years to arrow another mature big woods buck here in New Jersey. I'm in year 2 of that plan, and last year I kind of got my butt kicked, as you can tell, I talk about it in the video, but I use speed scouting to take, like I was saying, a large chunk of woods. I have a lot of camera data, a lot of scouting data from last year, and I went over all that data and I'm kind of shrinking it down, and I'm using speed scouting to be super efficient with my time in the woods. I know where the big bucks are. I know where they were spending a lot of daylight time last year. So speed scouting for me is taking all that data and compiling it down and then trying to find a manageable spot to hunt, if that makes sense. So follow along and hopefully everybody enjoys. Welcome back, everyone. South Jersey Big Woods. This video is going to be on speed scouting and how I'm going to use speed scouting this off season here, I guess, or this post season, to try and find killing trees. As most of you know, as some of you know, maybe most of you know, I scouted here pretty hard. I hunted here even harder, and I have 0 kills to show for it. I did run a lot of cameras. I did have some sightings on the hoof, but as you can tell, it's really thick, and if you're not like within a 20 yard or even under 20 yards, odds of you even seeing a deer here is slim, but getting a shot is going to be even tougher. So I ran a bunch of cameras in this deep laurel over here. I never hunted it. I just threw out 3 cameras, and when I pulled the cameras a couple weeks ago, going over all the data, there was a lot of buck activity from about the 25th of October to about beginning of shotgun season, or actually towards the end of shotgun season, so middle of December basically. And there was a lot of bucks looking for does. And I scouted here, going back and looking at the tracks, and I got some spots I thought were bedding. I found a couple big rubs, but I just ran out of time trying to connect the dots. So my goal with this video is to try and add some more pieces to the puzzle. There's got to be some bedding over here. There's got to be a community scrape. There's got to be something that I missed. So the spots that I missed scouting last year, I'm gonna go, pull up the map and just backtrack and really put some time in, but quickly, and trying to find, like I said, bedding and scraping area, something that is going to be a killing tree, because 40 yards out here is, you might as well just not even get out of bed. So the goal is to find a killing tree on a community scrape, a scrape line coming into bedding, something where I want to have a killing chance, an opportunity at a killing chance, I should say. So follow along as I walk aimlessly through the woods looking for killing tree. Yeah, scrapes and more scrapes. Coming through this laurel, you can tell it's pretty thick, and you see this little opening right here. Usually there's always scrapes or rubs. Oh, I got smacked with a stick back there. Excuse me. But whenever I find these little pockets like this, I always give a good one over. And a lot of times you can find some scrapes and some rubs. Just to give a quick look over. But scrapes right here. There's a bunch of scrapes on this holly tree. Some droppings. Looks like there's a trail headed back this way. I'm going to mark this. This is a good scraping area.
It's a pretty big scrape. There's, looks like there are 3 or 4 licking branches. Nothing crazy, but definitely a high volume area of scraping area, high volume scraping area. Yeah, there we go. And there's a big run this way. So I'm gonna mark this, take a couple pictures, make a couple notes in my logs, and something's telling me to go that way, so I'm gonna go that way. But yeah, 10 minutes in, 15 minutes in, find a big scraping area, a big open spot, which is actually kind of shootable into and around. I just blew out a whole bunch of deer. Had to be 15 deer, 12, 15 deer. They run all over the place. I'm about, there we go. Fresh poopies. See, I'm only probably 60, 70 yards away from that scrape, and there's a, looks like a point coming out here into the swamp section. I mean, it's only about 1.5 foot elevation. That's where all these deer just blew out. I mean, they were all up in here, so this might be some bedding. I'm gonna poke around here a little bit, see if I can find some beds. There's a bed right there. Oh yeah, this is definitely, yeah, most likely bedding. Yeah. Look at this. All those deer up. Kicked all those deer up on this little high ground right here. And there's literally balloons everywhere. Alright, so I got a scraping area back there, a big scraping area. I got high ground. You can actually almost, I don't know if you can see that. All a bunch of beds up in there. And I got all these balloons. So obviously there's some type of thermal pool. And if a buck is bedded down along this swamp edge or one of these high grounds, all that scent from that community scrape is going to draw right down here. So in the evening, this buck could smell that scrape, smell everything that's up, pretty much full 360. So this is a very good spot. This almost fell over right there. That's thick. Through little isolated pockets of open spots, but I think that scrape is going to be key. Definitely. That's coming here northwest, goes this way. I can come up along, hunt that scrape a few times in the morning, and probably not blow out this bedding area. In the evening, I don't think I can hunt it. I wouldn't risk hunting it unless it's raining, because of that thermal pool and all these balloons. I mean, there's balloons all over the place out here. So, you know, half hour in, good find. I'm gonna go back to that scraping area here, and I think that's gonna be a spot. I'm gonna get a few trees marked and kind of mark this spot off the list. It'd just be tough to hunt here in the morning to get them back. You know, those beds were scattered all over this little point coming down in the swamp. So I don't, it'd be low odds maybe. I don't know. But there's got to be some more. Yeah, good stuff, man. I love this stuff. I'm, I'm hustling here, but just did a big loop around that bedding area and that point along the swamp. Went about 100 yards in each direction, and now I'm zigzagging back and forth, and I found a scrape line feeding that bedding area. The scrape line is just on the edge of this laurel, and that bedding area where I kicked this deer up and found those beds is only about, I don't know, be 50 yards. So I have an active scrape line feeding into a bedding area. So as I was saying, that community scrape might be in a spot I can hunt. With a northeast wind, I can pretty much set up right here. My scent will blow back down in that direction. And in the morning I can come up in single scent stream, walk directly in the wind to these little open spots, some oaks. But bedding area, scrape line, community scrape, I pretty much found everything I was looking for this morning. So I'm gonna mark this, take a few pictures, log it up, and I guess move on to the next. I guess this is good enough for me. I got enough intel. I have to come back in here and get my trees marked, climb up them, do whatever I need to do. But scrape line, feeding, bedding, oh, there's fresh droppings right there. So yeah, scrape line, feeding, bedding area. And I got a big community type scrape, all within a 200, not even, less than 200 yards, 180 yards, maybe 150. So this is a high concentration deer area, and this in this type of settings is what you want. Got a lot of things happening here. There might be some signpost rubs. There could be numerous bucks, you know, crossing past here. I don't know, but scrape lines, doe bedding, and or buck bedding in there as well, and a big community scrape. I'm leaning more towards doe bedding with the scrape line feeding it and that big community scrape. I bet you if I hung a camera on that community scrape, I'd probably get a lot of doe activity all summer long. All right, all that doe bedding, well, them beds is right up here, and I don't know if you can see it there, hopefully. All these little stickers all around this perimeter have been chewed off. Browse, the browse line, but not the typical browse line. Trying to see that. All around here where there's greenbrier, wherever there was greenbrier, sticker bushes, it's been nipped off. So the more I think about this, this is probably a core area for some does, or a group of does live here. It's probably an old matriarch doe, but yeah, this spot's, it's gonna be fire, let me tell you. Yeah, you just get that feeling. There's a bunch of, and that laurel up there, a bunch of heavy runs, but they're all bedding, like I said, on this little point here. There's all kinds of beds up in there, and there is a really nice rub there, just on the outside of that. I'm not going to show you, as it's big, and somebody else might have seen that. And he's just south of this bedding area, so any northerly based wind, that buck's probably cruising 50 yards in that laurel, scent checking all this. That big rub is just south of that scrape line. So it's a big, tall, really tall tine, so it's a big deer. Yeah. Well, on that note, I think I should get out of here. Well, I guess that's that for this section of woods. I found what I was looking for.
Kind of added a couple pieces to the puzzle for this particular spot. Like I said, I got a good 300-yard circle, rectangular area, rectangular prism. What? But yeah, pretty much I got like we'll go a 200-yard rectangle area. I got all kinds of intel. I need to go back home, look which direction those bucks were coming from. But I do believe finding this doe bedding area and that community scrape is going to be key to this spot. I got about a mile walk because I want to check out another spot before this rain hits. So yeah, thanks for watching.